second about the digital part of it. Let's go to my Photoshop here. Can you all see this? Can you see my screen? Yeah, okay, great. So one thing that I realized is missing from those swatches that I gave you, here's an example of all those swatches loaded into my Photoshop. They're beautiful colors, is that we don't really have a set of chromatic grays. Whoops. So one thing I might suggest is you could just make yourself a set from like maybe 10, just doing this thing where you pick it and then add to swatch, you know, call it whatever you want, and then just move down this side, making yourself a bunch of achromatic grays, because you might need those. I don't really care how many you make, let's say 10 at least, and then just add them to swatches, and then you'll have them in your library as well. So, whoops. So again, at the bottom here, you can see I have done that. I'm gonna quit that out. Here are all my achromatic grays I just loaded in. And then everything above here is all those colors that I put the cache of them on Moodle, like I said, and there's instructions for loading. If you haven't done that yet, that's okay, you can get to that. And then how are you gonna actually function doing that? So here is the other thing that I gave you on Moodle, is a template for these smaller squares within the larger squares. And you can pretty much just, let me just move this up. I've got them broken into layers. So there's 3 layers. Here's small squares. I'm making them go away and the other back. So you could just do something like grab color like that and, oh no, I know what I mean. Paint bucket, that's it. Oops, did the background, sorry, small squares. Let me get rid of background for a second. Sorry about this. Anyway, I shouldn't have made that background. I'm not gonna bore you with my thing here, but let's watch. There we go. Okay, so now I've got my 2 squares there. And then for my other large square, I can try something like, what if I do something like that? And then for my other large square, let's see what might work. How about a real greeny green? Let's see what happens. Oh, I wish my background wasn't there. But basically, that's the idea. Just try plugging in different things and seeing how you can achieve the same basic approach that I did with the colored papers there. And because I'm giving you this set of swatches, it's also a very, you know, it's about 200 colors. It's not unlimited, but it is kind of a nice, tasty bunch of peculiar, sometimes colors that are kind of complicated and can do some of the same thing as your origami papers. Now, in case this is not going to function for you in terms of working in Photoshop with these swatches, maybe you don't have an updated version. Here, I included on Moodle also the link to this website, which is where I grabbed all those colors. And you can just do something like screenshot any of these colors and put it into Pages or whatever you want. And it's a little bit more of a roundabout way, but it gives you the same basic materials to work from as a workaround. Yeah.
I wanted to say, if anyone uses Procreate, you can just drop the color swatches into Procreate, and then.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for that suggestion. That I did not know that. That's a good.
Same thing with Clip Studio.
Beautiful. I love you guys. Terrific. So hopefully with all those things, and those last 2 things are not subscription, right?
The one that I have, it's like it's on the computer and it's like $40 once and you're done.
Okay, great.
Procreate is just like, you have to have like an iPad, but if you already have an iPad, it's just $10 once, and then.
Okay. So we have basically kind of at least 4 options there. You've got your Photoshop option if you have that, and you can drop those right in. Procreate, or what was the other one? Those are a nominal fee, or like I said, you could really do it kind of Stone Age and just kind of screenshot that from that website and drop them into like even just a, you know, Pages or something like that, and kind of scale them to what is needed. Clip Studio, great. Okay, is that all kind of clear about what this function is going to be, these projects? Yeah, Samantha?
So the homework is like what we're doing with the squares in class, but digitally, or is it different?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm going to do that real quick. Go back to my desktop and find the example for my homework. And there it is. Yes. So the homework on the sheet as described is, we'll do this all at once, the amazing expanding palette. So this is going to be 3 studies. They're related, but they're kind of separate things. At least 6 by 6 inches. Well, that's if you were making it in person. This is a digital study. So you can use, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could do it with papers, but you know, use that inventory we have to choose from, and this can be executed in Photoshop or any of the other things we just spoke about. And the idea with this is that these 3 studies, I would say they look a bit different from each other in terms of kind of feeling, and they're all made out of exactly the same 6 components. So how do you do that? It's about finding some of these colors that you've already been experiencing with your first 8 studies, that are colors that are easily influenceable, and surrounding them with something else. Like, let's say that gray is kind of surrounded by that green. It kind of disappears and even feels a little bit redder. And then in other examples, it feels totally different. So it's about being kind of clever about picking 6 colors, some of which are strong ones maybe, and some of which are influenceable by those strong colors, and then shifting up your proportions a lot, right? So making a very small slice of, let's say, a strong dominant color in one of them, so it's not so effective, and then maybe a big area of it in the other one, and those 2 will right then feel kind of different. So just playing with one set of 6 colors for all 3 palettes, all 3 projects, and just trying to find the most difference, how to get the most difference out of it. This is something that like print